All right, so we're so glad to have everyone with us today. This is the South Charleston Public Library Adult Cozy Craft Program with Joanne, who's going to have some pencil drawings for us today that we're going to do as a group. So we had over 40 people pick up craft kits. So we're hoping to have a lot more people either log on during today's program or watch it after the fact. And even if you're here today, you can log on later and watch it as well. So I'm very pleased to introduce our instructor today is Miss Joanne Jacobs. She's a faithful SCPL patron who comes to us often. She is a lifelong resident of Kanawha County and a retired public elementary school teacher. She has been involved in art of some form for over 25 years. She has taught classes here at SCPL before, so we were very fortunate to get her this summer again. She is a member of the Allied Artists of West Virginia and the West Virginia Watercolor Society. So we're having a wonderful experience with a very experienced artist with us today. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Miss Joanne.
Hi, everyone. This is Joanne Jacobs, and I'm here to impart some knowledge about colored pencil to you via this adult cozy craft class here. So I hope you're ready to get started. So here we go. First thing I want you to do is to have your materials out ready to use. We're only going to use the pencils that are red, yellow, orange, purple, the red, orange. We're going to use all of the blues and a black. You should have your ruler, your circle pattern, your eraser handy with the pencil sharpener, a board of some type, a surface so that you can lay your paper on. You need a cushion of several sheets of paper to do your drawing on, and then you put your paper right on top. All right, so you got in your packet a sample of what we're doing. You got the picture, and we're going to do this painting with the colored pencil. I've done it twice to show you. This one has a higher horizon line with the sun. The emphasis is more on the water. This one has a lower horizon line with the sun and islands, and the emphasis is more on the sky. So you have to decide if you're a sky person or a water person. All right, what you don't want to do is you don't want to put your horizon line right in the middle of your paper. That just kind of cuts it in half. All right, so look at your paper and kind of just eyeball and judge where you think the middle of your paper is. Or if you're a real technical person, you can actually measure it. Okay, so I'm just going to eyeball mine, and I'm a sky person, so I'm going to lower it, not too low, not too far below the middle. And you can see where my ruler is.
Can I ask you what size paper you're using, please?
I'm using a 6x8.
Thank you.
It's a half sheet of paper. It's whatever size was in your packet.
Oh, real quick, if anyone has any questions and stuff, just raise your hand and let us know. We can see you and we'll unmute you just to make sure, because we try to keep everyone muted for the duration of the program so that we don't get too much background noise and interference. So just let us know. All right, go ahead.
Okay. All right. If you're going to have the higher horizon, don't go much higher than what you see on my paper right there. It's maybe 2/3 of the way up. So I'm going to go back down here where I was. I want you to take your blue pencil, the darker blue, and draw your horizon line. And then I want you to take your black pencil and we're going to create the mountains that you see. These could be mountains, they can be islands right here. So let's do the right one first. So we're going to just kind of give it a little, make it a little bumpy and just go out to the edge of your paper. Then we're going to do the left one. And as you change the shape of it a little bit as you go, make it a little bit taller or a little bit lower. This is your painting, so you need to make it to suit yourself. All right. Pick up your sun pattern. That's the circle, and your orange pencil. All right, and you want to position your sun so that it looks like it's setting between the two mountains. You're not going to draw the bottom part. If you want just a little sun, then you're going to put most of it below the horizon line. If you want more sun, you're going to put it above the horizon line a little bit more. So draw in, just trace around your circle. Okay, there's your basic drawing right there. Now, we're using the Crayola pencils, which are a wax-based pencil, and they're you can get quite a bit of color out of them. When you're working with colored pencil, the main thing that you need to know is you work in layers. You do not want to press very heavily on the first layer at all. It's going to be very, very light. You want to work in your strokes in a similar direction on whatever you're working on. They can be circular, they can be horizontal, or they can be vertical, but try to keep them in the same in that area. We're going to start with the sun. So what we're going to do, we're going to fill in the sun with the pencil that says yellow. This is your lightest yellow. And we're just going to color this in with a very light yellow. And if you notice, I'm using sort of a circular pattern. Now, as we go, we've got that filled in. While we're here, I'm just going to continue outside of the sun a little bit. We're starting to build our sky. And you might want to continue this up along the hillside a little bit. You see what I've done? And then we're just going to come right down and we're going to work with the water. All this is done with a light layer of yellow. Now down here, I'm going to go horizontally because water flows in a horizontal manner. And I'm just going to go all the way down to my page, kind of flare it out a little bit on the side. I give you a couple of minutes to finish that part of it out. When you're ready, pick up your yellow pencil, the golden yellow pencil. All right, now we have the golden yellow pencil in our hand and we're going to start shaping our sun a little bit. So I'm going to use a little bit of a vertical line and I'm going to follow the shape of the sun. Don't worry about going out of the lines. It'll be fine. Now, up in this area right here, you see where my pencil is pointing to? Don't put any more layers right there because we want to keep the glow part of the sun. I always call that the glow because when we get finished, we want part of the sun to be a little bit lighter than the rest. All right. On the outer edges of this yellow that we did outside of the sun, come and put some of the yellow, the golden yellow, and just sort of go around. Don't get too close to your glow area. And down in the water, go on the outer edges of the yellow that you laid down. I'm not using a heavy pressure on this. Your first layer is going to be a very light pressure. The darkness will come later. There we go. Give you a couple minutes to finish that, and then I want you to pick up the orange pencil. With the orange, we're going to stay down closer to the bottom of the sun. We're going to come up just a little bit on the sides, and we're going to go down across the horizon line, a light layer of orange, and then up the other side. Just a little bit. Up in the sky. Now we're going to start using the horizontal stroke a little bit. So go on the outer edges of that golden yellow. Don't get down in that light and the golden, just kind of on the outer edges. And this is just a horizontal stroke. Likewise, down in the water, we're going to go on the outer edges in a horizontal stroke. And come into it in certain spots, but not Don't cover it up completely. Light layer. When you've done with that, pick up the red orange pencil.
Mhm.
And we're going to just kind of repeat the same thing. With the red orange, we're going to go over top of the part of the orange, that layer that we laid down on the sun. A little bit up on the side. And come down to meet the horizon line. And just very lightly across the horizon line. I'm going to move up to the sky and on the edge of the orange, I'm going to blend in some of this red orange. And also down in the water. Since these are darker colors, you can see that I'm kind of carrying little points of it up into the yellow. That's okay. That's where the water's flowing. Do one side and then do the other. Every so often, stop and stack your paper up a little bit so that you can get your good cushion underneath. All right, next pencil that you're going to use is the one marked red. So we're going to do the very same thing. Now we're going to keep the red very close to the mountainside. We're not going to go very much up into the rest of the sun. And go lightly across the horizon line. And up the other side. And then just repeat the same thing. Go up in the sky and with your horizontal strokes. Now you might extend the red a little bit along the tops of the mountain. Make it a little bit irregular because when you look at a sunset, you often see those red clouds filtering out toward the edge. Like I say in my watercolor classes, and I think I said it once before here, if you have any experience with colored pencil and you see something you want to do a little bit differently, then that's fine with me. You go right ahead because you know what you like, and this is your painting. All right, and I'm extending this right out over top of the I'm going to bring it in just a little bit on the sides there. All right. Once you get the sky to your satisfaction, do a little bit on the water, not too much red, because we're going to fill that in with the blue in a minute. I call this a painting because what we're actually doing is painting with pencils. We're drawing too, but we do that with watercolor also. All right, now we're through with the reds and the yellows for just a minute. The next pencil that I want you to pick up is sky blue. Sky blue. All right, and we're not going to touch the sun. We're not going to touch this yellow. We're going to touch the outer edges of the red. So we're going to start at the top with a horizontal stroke, and I'm going to come right into some of the red. And I'm just going to go all the way down. Light layer, a light layer. If you're running to the edge of your paper and you see your pencil going off, just scoot your paper over a little bit and let it go off on the sheet underneath there. All right, now continue this blue onto your mountain. I like to put layer of color underneath the black so it doesn't look so dead looking. Black can be an awfully dead looking color. But if you put other colors underneath it, then it kind of livens it up a little bit, gives it a little oomph in there. So just color that right in there. And continue on down into your water. All right, and so we don't lose the horizon line, go ahead and take your blue and just go right over top of that horizon line so that you know you'll be able to distinguish that. All right, now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. This is the first layer. I'm going to walk you through about 3 layers and it'll be pretty colorful. If you think you want a fourth or a fifth layer, then you would continue in the same manner. The trouble, you have to be careful with layering too much because you get what you call a wax bloom with your colored pencils. And that's where you hold it up to the light and all you see a waxy surface. And that means your paper's taken all the colored pencil and wax that it can handle. So we don't want to get to that point. All right, and then just continue on down into your water. Be sure you go up into the red a little bit. The reds and the oranges, go with it with that blue. I think I need to do that more on the other side, so I'm going to go back over there. Okay, and trace your horizon line so you don't lose it. And go right across in front of the sun. All right, give you a few minutes to finish that out. When you're finished with that layer, lay your pencils down and stretch your hands for a little bit. Shake your hands. I like to take and pull my wrist back and just kind of wiggle my fingers around, touch my fingers to my palm, and then touch each finger to my thumb. And just kind of wiggle them a little bit and give your shoulders a shrug, and then we're ready to go. Okay, that was the first layer. We're going to do essentially the same thing 2 more times. So we're going to start again with the light yellow. So it helps if you have your pencils in the order in which you're going to use them. So if they've gotten mixed up, take a couple of minutes and a couple seconds there and just put them in line. Notice I haven't picked up that purple yet. That purple is not going to be used until the very last, one of the very last pencils that we use. Okay, so let's start with the light yellow again, and we're going to go over the whole sun with the light yellow. This just kind of deepens the color. Don't get too dark with the glow area of your sun. See this area right here? I didn't put any color on that area right there. All right. And then I'm going to go outside the sun, and I'm even going to put a little bit on this hillside here. You notice that turned it a little green. Blue and green make, blue and yellow make green. All right. I'm not pulling this yellow down too much in the glow area outside the sun. I want to keep that. Okay, and I'm going to put a little bit up in this red area. Notice I've turned my pencil around, so now I'm doing a horizontal line. All right, and let's continue on down to our water. Again, we're still staying kind of light. I'm going to go straight down below the sun. And this time I can kind of extend it out a little bit. However, it makes a pleasing look to you. All right, now we have the golden yellow. I'll give you a chance to finish that out. Next pencil up will be the golden yellow. Anytime you have a question, just please be sure and ask. Glad to answer any questions you may have. All right, now we're going to start with the golden yellow. And I'm going right over top of that red. And right up the sides of the sun. Go make it a little bit darker towards the bottom. And up the side a little bit. Just a little bit in the middle. Can you see that glow area starting to develop a little bit? All right. Now let's go out to the outer edges of the yellow that you have. And notice I'm just kind of extending it out into the red. I'm so glad you're here today because I've missed teaching. If I seem a little nervous, it's because it's the first time I've ever taught a Zoom class, so
Well, you're doing a fabulous job.
I kind of feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay, down here in the water, I'm gonna continue on the outer edges of that yellow area. Do that on both sides. Next pencil up will be the orange, the light orange. Someone kicked the bucket over here. Okay. All right, with the orange again, we're going to go on the sides. I'm just pulling it right over top of everything else. And a little bit across the bottom. This time I'm going up into the sun a little bit. We want to give it a little bit more definition. And up in the sky, I did not put much orange in there because we want mostly that yellow and that glow area. Up in the sky on the edge of where you had the golden yellow, come by with some orange and extend it out a little bit because these colors in a sunset, you know, they go all over the sky. Okay, I think I'll pull some orange in here, this area here a little bit too. You make it look the way that you want it to look. Okay, and down here in the water, we're gonna continue with the orange right on the edge of that yellow. Pull some of it up into it. If you like colored pencil, you might consider investing in a different set of pencils. I can recommend Prismacolor or Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils. Derwent is another one. There's several good brands. Amazon has a lot of them, and they're reasonable prices too. To start with, you don't really need much more than a set of 24. But you know how us artists go. We want every pencil we can get a hold of. So, but they're a very versatile medium. You can stick a pack of pencils and a sketchbook in your purse, and away you go, and you're set. All right. Let's pick up the red orange. And we're going to add some red orange to the very, very corners of the sun, and just a little bit coming down into the bottom. Don't go up into the top. All this color is kind of going to stay on the sides and just a little bit across the bottom. There, that's where the sun's going down. All right, and then go up in the sky. And if you want to, you can put a little bit of this red orange up in the mountain. Or island, if you want to call it an island. Now you're starting to notice that as we bring these reddish colors out into the blue, you get sort of a purple tint to it. That's because red and blue make purple. And again, now let's put a little bit of this red orange up here too. All right, into the water. I usually do the right side first and then the left. That's because I'm right-handed. Be sure and do both sides. Notice here up at the horizon line, I kind of brought this color a little bit to the edge of the mountains there where the mountains meet the horizon line because that part's in shadow. You want it a little bit darker along there. Next color up is red. Give you a few more, couple of seconds to. All right, with the red, we're going to get that right down here at the very base of the sun and come just a little bit up over the sides some. Then go to your sky. And on the outer edges of the orange, put your red, bring some in to the center of it so your sky looks kind of streaky. I hope everybody's having a good summer. I'm so glad you're here today. Have a nice way to spend a lazy Saturday afternoon. Again, down into the water. Go along your horizon line with the red for a spell. And so it makes it like it's in shadow. And on the outer edges of the oranges and the yellows, put your reds. Okay, layer 2. That's part of it. Let's get the rest of it. All right. Now we're going to work with the blue. We've got to put in the second layer of blue. So again, we're repeating. We're starting with the sky blue, then the cerulean blue, and then the darker blue. All right, so let's start with the sky blue and go over it. When you build up colors with colored pencil, it gives your painting depth. And just kind of creates a better effect rather than just coloring one layer. All right, continue with the blue, just like we did before, down into the mountain. See that purple that's coming out of that red that's there? And we're going to cover it all up with black in a minute. But the black will be richer looking. And I'm taking pretty broad strokes here right now. Continue down into your water. I'm going to go ahead and go over my horizon line so I don't lose it. There you go. All right. And I'm pulling some of this blue now up into the red and the yellow because after all, this is water. And we usually think of water as being kind of blue. All right, on the other side, do the same thing. Rinse and repeat. This is when you like to have nice music on and or a audio book to listen to while you're doing this kind of thing.
Don't forget to log it for your summer reading.
I hope you all have enjoyed the summer reading program as much as I have. Read a lot of good books this summer. And heard quite a few of them too. Okay, continue down. I'm holding my pencil a little bit differently when I get down in this area. I'm kind of holding it in my fist a little bit and working off the side of the pencil. It's because my pencil's starting to get dull. All righty. Okay. Next blue. Cerulean blue, and just do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing with the darker blue also. All right, so just start on the right hand side and when you get to it and just go all the way down your page. See those purples starting to come out there? That's those purple clouds. All right. Now up close to the horizon, you want to maybe bear down a little bit and keep that in sort of in the shadow there because the mountain. I hear rain outside.
It is indeed.
So, boy, I'm glad I'm inside at South Charleston Public Library doing a colored
Yay.
pencil workshop.
So are we.
Can't think of a thing better to do on a rainy Saturday afternoon. Okay, continue on down. And I hear thunder.
Mhm.
I hope that you're nice and dry and wherever you are.
Indoors.
Indoors.
Make this a little more difficult. You're not.
All right, now I finished with the cerulean. If you're not quite up with me, that's okay. And maybe you're ahead of me. I'm not sure, but I'm going to start with the darker blue and I'm going to do the same thing over again. I'm just going to do the sky. I just always find it easier to go down one whole side and then do the other side rather than do a sky and then a mountain and then the water. I just think it works smoother. And we like to do things that work smooth. Now it should start to look more like what you expect in a painting. Okay. That's layer 2 of everything. All right. Now we're ready to lay in these black mountains here. So once you pick up your black pencil, and the only thing we're going to use black on are these 2 mountainous shapes that we have right here. Again, I say it could be islands, it could be mountains. All right, so I'm just going to start up here at the top of it, kind of follow your shape a little bit careful like so that you know where you're going because we got a lot of color in there. Wow, it's really coming down. Okay, and then you can just fill it in as you go. Down at the horizon line, keep it kind of dark. All right, and then the other side. So we want to, again, watch your shape, especially when you get up close to the sun. You want to see that little glow right there where my pencil is? That's from where that yellow that we laid in, and that's good. That's where it should be, because that's the sun reflecting on that point of land there. All right, fill that one in. All right, now step back for a minute or just hold your paper away from you and look and see where your sky shape is, your water, and see what you think you need to improve. This is all layer 2. Okay, and like I told you before, I'm going to do 3 layers with you. And then if you think you need to go further, then you can do the layer do the other layers yourself on your own. All right. We're going to start again. Shake your hands out. Give yourself a little shoulder shrug and get ready to go again. We're going to start with the 2 yellows, and we're going to go over all the yellow again. This time this 3rd layer, we're going to bear down a little bit harder than what we have in the first 2 layers. Okay, so let's get started. And I'm with just the yellow. I'm still not touching that glow area. I'm going to bring it up around the edges of that so that we have some shape, but not going to touch that glow area. Again, the yellow up in the sky, leave the glow area there. See this area around here? Leave that glow. I'm going to leave this orange around the sun because, well, we need to see where the sun is. But it's, gives us a guideline there. Okay, and I'm pulling this yellow up into the reds and yellows, the oranges. All right, pick up, let's go down into the water. Okay. Again, we're going to have a little glow area down here. Let's go across the horizon though, pretty kind of dark like, because that's in the shadow of the sun. Excuse me, I ran out of lead. All right, I left this area just to reflect this glow area up here. If you want to fold in just a little bit, that's okay. All right, do the same thing with the golden yellow on the sun. Remember, this layer gets a little bit heavier pressure, so you're gonna and I'm using this golden yellow and come up around the edge of that sun there, kind of dull that orange down a little bit. All right, go up in the sky with that. Heavy pressure. When you do that, that just kind of blends everything together. Then come down into the water on the outer edges of the yellow with heavier pressure. Next, we're just going to continue in our pattern with the orange. And I'm going to go a little bit darker.
Sorry, 1 second.
We had music there
We
for a
did.
few minutes, didn't we? All right. Put some orange up in the sky, blend it in with your reds and yellows. Go down in your water with it. Use your heavier pressure with it.
Still. 1 second. Let me just have some.
I got it. Okay, fine. There's the other one.
Yeah. Hold on. There you go.
Okay, red, orange, right along the corner of the sun. You can see now that more layers you put on, you're starting to get crumbles on your picture. You might want to blow them off or shake them off. I have at home, I have a brush that I use to brush them off with, which is a good thing to have. Okay, and keep this red, orange out in the outer reaches of all your color there. Might bring a few little scraggles in towards the sun. All right, along the into the water. We'll do a little bit more with the red.
Mhm.
If your hand's getting tired, just stop a little bit and you can kind of pick it up, okay? Down toward the bottom of the sun, you want some pretty intense red. And just along the sides, you don't want it to go too much along the edge of it. All right, put some deeper reds up in the sky. And the deeper your red is, you start seeing that purple come in. Go to your water. Don't forget that horizon line. Okay, we're through with the reds. Let's do the same thing with the blues, starting with the sky blue, then the cerulean blue, and then the just blue. So this time we don't necessarily need to go down into the black with all three blues if you don't want to, but I probably will. It just kind of easier in the flow of things. It builds a little body in there. Okay. You want to keep it dark up around the horizon line. Do one side and then do the other. All right, that's the sky blue. Let's do the same thing with the cerulean. You know, each time I do this, it always comes out a little bit differently, so it just all depends on the pressure that you use and the way that you apply the color. With each time I do a blue, I'm going over that horizon line to keep it darker. This is one of those type paintings that you can come back to and you say, oh, I think it needs more of this, or it needs more red, or it needs more blue, or whatever, and you can keep adding to it. Like I said, I'm doing 3 layers. And if you want to continue with it, then you can add a couple more layers. You may not want to do that right now. You might want to wait a little while, give your hands a rest. But it's getting pretty waxy right now, so I wouldn't advise maybe more than 1 or 2 more layers. Okay, dark blue. Now up here, when we get to this dark blue, up here in the corners, you want to keep it pretty dark. Along the top of the sky, so kind of dark up in along the edges here. Come down and continue that darkness on the edge of your hillside. Right here in this corner. Nice thing about Zoom and activities like this is you can always go back and revisit it on the library's Facebook page.
And our YouTube. Yep.
YouTube.
On there as well. We'll be there.
And you can try your own version of this too. You may want to add more mountains or whatever. All right. Now we've done the blue, so let's pick up your black and get as heavy pressure as you can. I'm going to have to sharpen it. Okay. Uh-huh. Get those mountains in. Now, if I were going to continue working on mine, I would probably only work on these mountains and get them as dark as I would like for them to be. This isn't quite dark enough, but due to time constraints, we want to get them as dark as we can. All right. Now, I'm going to pick up the purple pencil. We have some purples up here in the sky and the water, but I'm going to go where those purples are and I'm going to just sort of enhance them a little bit with the purple pencil. If you put the purple down just by itself, it's kind of overpowering. So especially with the Crayola brand, it's a little bit. And you can put where you want some purplish color to be. it would normally be found on the outskirts of the red where the red meets the blue. Don't forget to put some down in the water too. Don't need a whole lot, just a little. Oh, that's good. All right. Okay. Now, I've done 3 layers with you, and I'm pretty satisfied with what I've done. I would, like I told you before, you could continue and maybe put 2 more layers on. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you how we finish out this painting. We're going to use just the black right now. So you need your black pencil. And we have a palm tree, and this palm tree is growing out of a section of the mountain on the right. If you want it on the right, you might want a left palm tree, but I'm going to put it over here. It's basically, we're going to draw that right in there. You want it a little curved line and make it a little bit narrower at the top than it is at the bottom, and come down, and with pretty heavy pressure, just go over top of it. Just fill those 2 lines in. Then we're going to put some palm leaves on it. So I just kind of do a little curved line and then a little curved line. Put 2 curved lines. There's your 3rd leaf. I'm going to put another leaf in here. And I'm going to make 5 palm. I think they're called fronds, aren't they? Okay. And I'm going to shade those in. Now, because the sun's shining behind this, we're going to have a reflection. So we're going to come right here at the base of this, and we're going to just go directly out from it. And we're going to just draw the same tree. Make it narrower at the top. Fill those 2 lines in. Not quite as heavy as what you did with the tree itself. Put your palm fronds in, draw 5 more.
Look like a reflection.
It will. Don't make it too dark because it is in the water. Now, your picture that was in your pocket has some birds flying in it. And, you know, the theme of the library program is Tales to Tale. Tails and tails. Well, these birds have tails to them, T-A-I-L-S, and they've traveled to this island here, and they're going to fly home and tell tales, T-A-L-E-S, of what they've seen and done on this island. All right, now let me talk to you about birds for just a minute. A lot of people, when they put birds in paintings, you just want to suggest them. So they do something like this, which is, if you can you see that? Okay.
Yeah.
It just looks like a long letter M. So I like to do them just a little bit different. I start with a horizontal line, and then I dip down and retrace back up. And then the second one, I just kind of curve it a little bit and over. It kind of looks like one wing's flapping and the other wing is out a little bit. And you see their body. You can see a suggestion of a body right there. So whichever one is easier for you, I'm going to put some of the birds up here in this area, and I'll put one or two in front of the sun. So I'm going to go across. You might want to practice that on another piece of paper, and then curve. Okay. And don't put them all in a row because they don't fly that way. All right, I'm going to put one right here. And you can put however many birds that you want in your painting. I usually like to go with an odd number. If I want 3, I put 3, or 5 or 7, something like that. There's 4. I put one that's kind of half in the sun and half out. There's 5. Okay, so there we go. We have our birds, we have our palm tree, we have our mountains, and we have our sunset. And you can keep adding to it if you want to pick up a red pencil and go in and enhance some red up here, make it a little bit darker. Then you can do that, or purples or your blues. And I have completed my painting. I hope that you were able to follow along, and I've certainly enjoyed teaching. It's good to be back to teaching again, and it's good to see all of you people again. So thank you very much. And thanks South Charleston Library for inviting me to do this. Bye.